Hello, and welcome to Speech and Debate at Erie High School. I am your student, speech and debate teacher and coach, Allison Osborn Areeda. It is great to meet you. A little bit about myself. I grew up in Wayne, Michigan, which is right outside of Detroit, Michigan. I graduated from Eastern Michigan University and majored in language, literature, and writing for secondary education and minored in communication and theater arts. Additionally, I just received my master's of literature and literary criticism from Southern New Hampshire University. You could take a look at my beautiful family, my four-legged friends, Misty, Sadie, and Marvin the Meatball, and my husband, Chris. Some background of my educational experience. I spent last year teaching 7th grade English in Aurora. And previous to that, I was in Scottsbluff, Nebraska for 7 years, teaching a variety of courses, including AP Literature and Composition, English 9 and 10, Honors and Collaborative, Speech, Theater, College Preparation, a social emotional curriculum, and I also coached our competitive speech and debate program in Nebraska, as well as our competitive one act program. Additionally, I spent 3 years as the Freshman Academy Department co-chair. As far as what to expect for speech and debate, the course itself is centered on actually two parts of the Colorado academic standards. We do focus quite a bit on the reading, writing, and communicating strands with a focus on oral expression and listening. That's the delivery side of our speech and debate presentations, as well as the research, inquiry, and design portion of our reading, writing, and communicating strands. And that looks like the development of argumentative and persuasive writing. So we dive pretty heavily into research, inquiry, and design of our speeches. We also pull from the visual and performing arts strands of the Colorado academic standards, which are to create, perform, and critically respond. We are creating our speech and debate pieces, we are performing them, and we are critically responding to our own performances, other performances, and using those analyses to sharpen our own skills. In our classroom, we do quite a few activities on analyzing and diving in to understand the different events for competitive speech and debate. On the debate side, that looks like diving into Lincoln Douglas style debate, public forum debate, and congressional debate. As far as our public address activities, we dive into persuasive writing and speaking, informative writing and speaking, and extemporaneous research and performance. So many of the public address and debate pieces focus in on the writing of our actual speeches. So that might be analysis on argumentative writing, exploring lines of reasoning, exploring rhetorical devices, exploring logical fallacies, and using that information to create a fabulous persuasive speaking presentation or an informative presentation. On the interpretation side, this is where we dive into prose, poetry, and drama, and we take that large text and we cut it down to a shorter deliverable that students memorize and perform, diving into character analyses, plot analyses, tone analyses, and using those literary analyses pieces to create a performance showcasing a variety of characters, energy, and plot delivery. So all sorts of exciting literary analyses, argumentative writing, diving into rhetorical devices, and students get a little bit of expertise in several areas. It is a classroom of variety and wonderful communication skill building opportunities. For our speech and debate competitive event tournaments, What we ask is that if students would like to stay in speech and debate for their whole high school career, that they log into speechanddebate.org through the National Speech and Debate Association and pay the $20 fee to become an official member of NSDA. And that $20 will cover their entire high school experience. And as they go through the next several years and gain NSDA performance points, they can letter, similar to how you might letter in competitive sports or in competitive music, that they can letter in speech and debate. For our classroom, we do have a classroom due of $40, and what that covers is the event tournaments have all gone virtual this year, and the cost of turning what would originally be a pretty comprehensive one-to-one tournament in at different schools we've had to turn this into an entire online platform, and the creation and training behind that has been quite expensive for the National Speech and Debate Association. And so the event fees have raised. And so our classroom dues would cover our event and tournament fees to compete in other virtual tournaments across not just Colorado, but now we have the opportunity to be involved in tournaments across the nation. That also includes costs for the creation of visual aids, costs to order different resources for research behind the debate and public address side, and also covering costs to order scripts for our students to analyze and cut. For our virtual tournaments this year, what that is going to look like is your student will perform either at home in front of their computer, or will have spaces in Erie High School where they can perform in a classroom while being socially distanced from, they'll be in specific classrooms without any audience members or other people in the room with them. So it'll be a socially distanced performance in Erie High School. Our plan is to have 2 Saturdays per marking period set aside for tournament dates. And that will be essentially an entire Saturday from 7:30 in the morning until sometimes 5 or 6 o'clock in the evening time. And so your student will be performing several times throughout that day, depending on where they will be delivering their speaking event. So that's going to be pretty different this year than previous years. But we have had several trainings and many conversations about how to make that work best for our students. And we're so excited that we can still have these event tournaments, that our students can experience the wonderful opportunities of competitive speech and debate, even if it's virtual. That also means we need to pay close attention to our students' attire and their presentation spaces. And so you'll hear from your student that they do need to have business formal attire to present in, even though it will be a presentation at home. And that if they are presenting from home, that their presentation spaces are free from distraction, that there's adequate lighting, and that there isn't anything around that might derail or distract the judges from only focusing on your student's performance. We are also requiring students to engage in at least one after-school practice session before every tournament. And so that will look like between the hours of 3 o'clock and 4:30, setting up a 15 to 30-minute practice session, either in person, being properly socially distanced, or through a WebEx one-to-one to have an after-school practice session. And students have access to sign up for those after-school practice sessions via Schoology and through our shared speech drive. Last piece on our speech and debate competitive event tournaments is a conversation on commitment to excellence and time management. Speech and debate is such a wonderful event for our students. It helps with fluency in communication, being able to work collaboratively with other students and within group settings, and it really sharpens our analytical, our rhetorical, our writing skills for future use in post-secondary goals and careers. We ask that students commit to excellence in the speech and debate program. And that means that we do expect students to commit to time outside of class to research, write their speeches, practice and cut and memorize their scripts, engage in practice sessions with me and with their peers. And so it does involve some outside homework. So your students are expected to practice and research outside of our designated classroom time. And the more energy and the more time and the more commitment our students put into their competition events, the greater outcome we are going to see. And so I do expect students to do quite a bit of work in memorization and research outside of our classroom setting. All of our materials are accessible on Schoology. Additionally, I provided our students with logins to the NSDA website where they can access a variety of incredible resources on the NSDA website. Schoology is not to be used for your students' official speech and debate grade or for missing assignments. Schoology is just our interface to deliver materials and deliver information. If you are concerned about your student's grade in speech and debate class, please check Infinite Campus. Infinite Campus will include all participation, daily work, assessments, presentations, practice runs. Those will be on Infinite Campus. And so if there's a missing assignment on Infinite Campus, that's when we're going to want to communicate with each other and make sure that our students are getting their missing assignments in. So if you do need to contact me, best way for contact is through email. We also have Friday office hours where you can set up a WebEx one-to-one through our Calendly account. And if all else fails, we can always call each other by phone. You are free to leave a voicemail. My extension is 45991. However, email is the best route to take. I am so looking forward to watching your students blossom into incredible public speakers and performers, and very excited to see what incredible creations our kiddos come up with. It was great to meet you. Please do not hesitate to reach out if you have questions, if you want to know how to tune into the virtual tournaments and watch your student perform or other students perform, and we can have that communication and contact. Take care, stay safe, and keep socially distancing.